A late December 2025 phone call marked the final escalation in a long standoff.
You gotta surrender.
That's the option U.S. President Donald Trump offered to Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. A week later, on January 2nd, an armada of U.S. naval forces moved into position off Venezuela's coast. U.S. officials say Maduro was offered a final chance to step down voluntarily.
Venga por mí! Aquí lo espero en Miraflores! No se tarde en llegar, cobarde!
He refused. His decision prompted Trump to give Operation Absolute Resolve the green light. In the early hours of January 3rd, U.S. forces launched a coordinated assault in Caracas. Under a communications blackout, U.S. aircraft and special forces moved through the city simultaneously. In 2 hours and 28 minutes, Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were abducted. They were transferred by helicopter to the USS Iwo Jima and then brought to the U.S. Navy base in Guantanamo Bay. A plane then flew them to New York to face U.S. federal charges. Critics argue Washington's operations amounted to an illegal raid and kidnapping that broke international law. But Washington insists it was a law enforcement action. Analysts say Operation Absolute Resolve was not a sudden strike. They describe it as the endpoint of more than 2 decades of U.S. pressure on Venezuela. U.S. involvement in Venezuela dates back to 2002, when Washington backed a failed coup against then-President Hugo Chavez. In the years that followed, the U.S. imposed arms embargoes, sanctions, asset freezes, and diplomatic isolation on Caracas. After Chavez's death in 2013, Maduro won through a special election and inherited an economy already under strain. By 2014, mass protests erupted amid inflation, commodity shortages, and collapsing oil revenues. In 2017, Trump publicly raised the option of military intervention.
We're all over the world. And we have troops all over the world in places that are very, very far away. Venezuela is not very far away, and the people are suffering, and they're dying. We have many options for Venezuela, including a possible military option if necessary.
After Venezuela's disputed 2018 election, Washington imposed sweeping oil sanctions and froze state assets. The U.S. recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido as Venezuela's interim president. Despite strong backing from the U.S. and its allies, Guaido failed to consolidate power inside the country. His parallel government eventually collapsed. The turning point came in early 2025. The Trump administration reclassified Venezuelan criminal networks as foreign terrorist organizations. Maduro was labeled a drug kingpin, and his government reframed as a transnational security threat for smuggling narcotics into the U.S. The U.S. doubled its bounty for Maduro's arrest to $50 million. What followed was the largest U.S. military buildup in the Caribbean in decades, Operation Southern Spear. Washington expanded its naval patrols, struck alleged drug vessels, and tightened its oil blockade. By January 3rd, the operation culminated and reached its conclusion. U.S. officials claim special forces had trained on a replica of Maduro's residence and captured him and his wife before the couple reached a safe room. Maduro now awaits trial in New York on charges including narco-terrorism and cocaine trafficking. With Trump claiming that the U.S. would run Venezuela during a transition process, the U.S. president unveiled what he called the Donroe Doctrine. According to the White House, it's Trump's rewrite of the Monroe Doctrine, a 19th century U.S. policy proclaiming Washington's dominance over the Western Hemisphere. But Trump's version is far more explicit. Under the Donroe Doctrine, the U.S. claims the right to intervene anywhere in the Americas against governments it labels criminal, hostile, or destabilizing. Supporters argue it restores order and deters rivals. Critics say it formalizes unilateral intervention, bypasses international law, and places Latin America firmly under U.S. dominance.
Los destinos de Venezuela los que están en juego. Lo que está en juego es que la narrativa de Estados Unidos entonces se convierta, más allá del caso venezolano, en una amenaza para la paz regional, pero también para la paz internacional.
There are people that are concerned that this really opens a Pandora's box where leaders of foreign countries are going to be brought to trial here in the United States.
Venezuela, analysts warn, is likely just Washington's trial run for Trump's Donroe Doctrine.